Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the single most reckless decision I made in my adult life. And if you click this video because you're thinking about picking up the guitar after your 40th birthday, proceed with extreme caution. It's not too late to just buy a motorcycle. It's less humiliating and the inevitable crash is much faster. But 1 year ago, on January 1st, I was still an enterprise marketing architect. I was very good at it, I was respected, I was solvent, and then, in a fit of midlife cliche that usually ends with a younger girlfriend and a regrettable tattoo, I quit. And yes, I did get a tattoo, which I will shamefully reveal at the end of this video. But the key thing here is that I walked away from a high-paying career to become a YouTuber for a hobby I currently still suck at. Now, most rational adults would call this a nervous breakdown, just with better lighting. And I'm still figuring out what to call it myself. Is this bravery or just a very slow public financial suicide? And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the math, the humiliation, and the reason why, despite all logic, I haven't crawled back to corporate yet. But let's talk about the hardware first, the guitar. When you start learning something new at 15, people root for you. Look at him go. And when you start learning something at 75, people applaud you for your cognitive function. Good for him for keeping that brain active. But when you start at 41, it is a totally different story. Nobody really takes you seriously. You get that polite, patronizing nod, the one usually reserved for a toddler showing off a drawing of a horse that looks suspiciously like a potato. They care just enough to judge you, but not enough to listen. You are stranded on an island of your own incompetence with the crushing realization that the ship has probably sailed. You aren't going to get good, you aren't going to be a rock star, and at this age the neuroplasticity window has slammed shut on your fingers. You're not building a legacy, you're just making noise in a room your partner wishes you'd soundproof. So naturally, I ignored the critics around me, I ignored biology, and I started anyway. And honestly, the first few weeks were a lot of fun. The progress was fast, the dopamine was flowing, but that fades quickly. And suddenly the reality of learning guitar sets in. This is really, really difficult. So I tried to solve this the way any rational man with a severance package would, and I threw money at it. I bought multiple guitars, bought the amps, I built an 8-piece pedal board that looks like the control deck of the Starship Enterprise. I use exactly 0 of those pedals today, and I'm not even sure what 2 of those do. And realizing that you cannot simply buy your way to talent, that expensive gear is not a substitute for actual process, is a profound exercise in humiliation. In my whole life, I was a guy people came to for answers. I solved complex architectural problems. Now, well, I'm defeated daily by a clean F-chord. You practice for months, you build up the courage to play for a friend, and you are unreasonably excited because you can finally play a single string version of a muse riff. And then they stare at you blankly and ask you if you're done sound checking. The only thing I can competently play today is the kind of 4-chord drivel that Coldplay uses to sedate soccer moms in minivans. It's depressing, it's Karen music, and for now that's about the ceiling of my ability. But here's the solution I had to accept. I'm not special, I don't have any innate talent, I'm just a guy who knows how to learn. And that grind, well, that's the only thing I have left. And if the F-chord hurt my hand, this next part hurts my soul. Let's look at the numbers. I basically traded a pension for a comment section, and I have burned through my savings making these high production videos about bedroom modeling amps, but it didn't start that way. A few weeks after I quit, I started uploading videos. Not because I had a master plan, and not entirely because I'm a narcissist, but because I wanted a record. I wanted to capture the struggle of starting from zero. And those earlier videos, cringy, hard to watch, they found zero success, which is exactly what they deserved. But about then 6 months later, reality knocked on the door. My savings were evaporating, and it became painfully clear that nobody was ever going to pay me to play the guitar. I won't be good enough to gig for years, and I won't be a session player for many, many, many years, if ever. So by the end of last summer, I had a choice: go back to the office or double down on the only asset I had left, this channel. So in September, I went all in. I decided to turn my ignorance into a product. I love figuring things out, so that became my model. I learned something on the spot, panicked slightly, and then packaged that confusion into a nicely produced video for you. And let's be clear, this is a grind. I mean, I grew this channel from 200 subscribers to almost 1,500 in 6 months. No viral tricks, no clickbait, just consistent high effort content from a guy who is admittedly not an expert. And the financial reward for all that blood, sweat, and strategy and sleepless nights, for now about $150 a month. That's not a salary, that's a rounding error. I'm basically a middle-aged man shouting into the void, and that void is tipping me like a bad waiter. The future is, let's call it, uncertain. I need to scale this at least tenfold to survive, and there are nights I lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if I made a terrible mistake, wondering if I should just update my CV and go back to wearing non-pyjama pants. So yeah, why am I still here? Why haven't I sold my guitars and gone back to LinkedIn? Well, because for 20 years I did what was smart, I climbed the ladder, I made some money, but eventually I was bored out of my mind. And being bad at this, struggling to edit these videos, fighting for every single view, it is the first time in decades I have felt so awake. I have zero shame left. I don't even care about the bad comments. I don't care I'm not going to be Van Halen. I don't care that I'm technically barely better than Chris Martin. The pain of starting over at 40 is real. It's terrifying, but the pain of never starting, the pain of sitting in that office for another 10 years, wondering what if, well, that's worse. I am all in on this. There is no plan B. I am going to master this instrument, I'm going to make this channel a success, or I'm going to go broke trying, and I want you to come with me. So if you want to support this reckless gamble, if you own a Spark and you want your guitar to sound great without spending hours tweaking knobs, I've got you. I just released the premium version of my Spark cheat sheets. It breaks down the specific pedal controls and amp logic so you finally understand your gear. It's a technical blueprint for better tone. Now you can buy it straight from my site for $11.99, or you can do the smart thing and join either my YouTube or Patreon membership. You'll support the channel, I'll give you the premium sheets, all my tone presets, and the behind the scenes content for free. It's cheaper than ordering a pizza, and it helps me pay rent while I panic about the future. And also, as promised, here it is, sex and drugs. It didn't include rock and roll because obviously that part is already inside me. I know, it's stupid. Anyway, I'm Nicholas, this is Go To and Play. I'll see you in the next one, hopefully.